Right, good afternoon, everyone, and a very warm welcome to today's session. So, this is the program induction and also the academic advisory session for the MA Special and Additional Learning Needs program, which is jointly delivered by ISEP Europe and the University of East London. So I just wanted to say a very warm welcome to everyone, and especially to our new September intake students who are joining us for the first time, and also to our continuing students who are back with us this term. It is wonderful to see you all here today. And this session, as I mentioned, is both the induction and an academic advisory. So it's really about helping you feel settled, feel connected, and ready to make the most of your studies this term and in the future. And what makes this program so special? Probably many of you have already realized that it's really the mix of people we have from different professional and educational backgrounds, and each bringing unique insights and experiences. So the diversity is what makes our learning community so engaging and so reflective. So, whatever you're just beginning your continuing journey, or I hope today that helps you to feel part of that shared community and also give you the sense of direction for the term ahead. But before we go any further, I'd like to take a moment just to introduce the key people who will be working with you and supporting you this term apart from your module tutors. So my name is Rita and I'm the program lead for special education here at ISEP Europe. And I work closely with our module tutors as well as colleagues at UEL to make sure that your learning experience is well supported and it's also academically robust. And I'm also joined today by my colleague, Dr. Deirdre McIntyre, who is our Dean of Research and Academic Affairs at ISEP Europe, but who also serves as the academic advisor for this program. Many of you will have seen her name across different aspects of the program. So Deirdre provides guidance on different study approaches, and will also share some advice later in today's session. And apart from Deirdre, we're also joined by our colleague, Miss Chloe O'Rourke, which is who's our administrative and student support officer, whom many of you will have known as your main point of contact for day-to-day queries. Many of you probably have already been in contact with Chloe regarding the application process, regarding onboarding process. So whether it's around, the module access deadlines or just the general program logistics, Chloe works very closely with both the academic and also the administrative teams just to make sure that everything runs smoothly for us. So between the three of us, along with your module tutors, we're here to support you across all aspects of your learning journey, whether it's professionally, academically, administratively, or personally as well. And just give you an overview of what we will be covering today. So we will be beginning with a short induction to welcome both our new student and the continuing student. And I will then take you through a brief overview of the program structure, the expectations, the key milestones, the module options. And then we'll be also talking a little bit about the key program updates, just to put you in the loop, and also some of the gentle reminders throughout the term. And after that, we will move into the academic advisory session where my colleague Deirdre will lead in a session that we will be looking at how to get the most out of your modules. Deirdre will share some tips for learning activities regarding your assignments and also other bits such as the academic integrity, referencing the supports available as well as the UEL library, things like that. And we will finish with a probably short Q&A and if you have any questions and then look at the next steps for them ahead. So the aim is that by the end of today's session, that you will feel quite informed, you will feel connected, and you feel confident about the journey ahead. So a quick program overview. So this program has been successfully running since 2014, and this is a pioneer program that was established with the kind of the purpose to widening access to high quality training in additional learning needs in the area of inclusion and special educational needs. As you're aware that this program is jointly developed, delivered, and also quality ensured through a very strong partnership between ISEP Europe and the UEL, which is also underpinned by the highest UK higher education standards. The program is delivered fully online and it supports diverse learners worldwide through some of the accessible, inclusive, and professionally relevant content. And today we have lots of graduates from all over the globe who have already successfully completed the program and who have become the leaders, the experts, the advocates in the area of inclusive education and special educational needs. So we're very proud that this program has been such a success. And just regarding the program structure, and some of the key milestones. So as you're aware that this is a fully online program, but it's also a part-time program that designed for graduates, for educators, professionals, parents, or who are have an interest in this area, who wants to make a difference, and also for professionals who are currently balancing study with work and other commitments. The entire program also runs across 3 academic terms each year, which is the September term, the January term, and the May terms, and which together make up the full academic cycle. There are diverse module options in this program that allow you to tailor your studies to your professional and personal interests, developing both theoretical understanding as well as applied skills that you can apply in your own whenever educational settings, organization, community-based settings. And for many students, most of you, probably some of you have enrolled into the full master's program that is designed to be completed over 2 years on a part-time, fully online basis. So if you're enrolled into the full master program, you would need to complete 4 taught modules of your choice, plus the research dissertation module. But also the program, its structure also allows for flexibility. So at any juncture of your study, if you're enrolled for the full master program that you feel like you have the opportunity to apply for exit award, which there are 2 possible pathways. One is the postgraduate diploma, where you need to complete 4 taught modules. And then another one is the postgraduate certificate, where you need to complete 2 taught modules. So during those kind of journeys, your juncture, you could apply for something called exit award, and you will receive your certificate and your postgraduate diploma if you complete the 4 modules or 2 taught modules. So as mentioned, you're probably already aware that there are a variety of module options. As you can see, the inclusive education, collaboration, and the best practice. This is the core module for the program. So this is the module that underpins kind of, the main philosophy, the core value of the program. And this is a core module this year for the PG Cert and PG Deep student. We will talk a little bit more when it's come to program update, and just to give you an idea, what does that mean for you if you're gonna thinking about doing the exit award for PG Cert and PG Deep. We also have other modules apart from inclusive education, such as autism, dyslexia, understanding behavior, exceptionally able learners. So this is the module that is running last time for this term this year. So probably some of you have signed up for this module. We also have the modules such as the ABA, the Leading Inclusive Practice in SEN. So this is a new module that will be available for the January 26 term. And apart from that, for your master program, that you have the research methods and dissertation, which is the core module for the master students. But as I said, we can talk a little bit more in detail later when we're talking about the program updates and what this meant for you in terms of core modules, optional modules as well. In terms of teaching learning, so it is a fully online teaching learning model. It's online and asynchronized, flexible, self-paced study. You probably have already discovered by this stage. Each term includes around 10 teaching weeks plus 4 weeks for your assignments completion. And the learning is also supported through a suite of online tools and resources. In terms of the learning environment, we utilize Moodle, which ISEP currently managing the Moodle learning environment. So you'll be able to access to the module contents, your readings, and your learning activities. Apart from that, you have a variety of other kind of tools, such as your interactive discussion forums, your assignment forums, your social and news forums for your engagement with tutors and also your peers. And also you have a dedicated space where you have different types of learning activities for each module, each unit, which are kind of reflective and applied. Those applied learning activities, they're trying to connect in theory to professional practice. So we're very well encourage you to kind of respond to each other's posts, to kind of start create this community of practice and to engage with your peers around the globe, because it's such a rewarding experience at the end of the day. And just give you a quick screenshot about the visual learning platform, which you're very familiar to it at this stage, I say. But I just wanted to point out a few kind of key sections, key elements in this learning platform that might be of help as you kind of navigate in this journey. So for every module, when you go in, there is a document. It's called critical dates. It's a PDF document. So each term has a set of key dates that is available on Moodle. The critical date document that outlines basically three things. One is about the module start and the end date. And then also your assignment submission deadlines, which is very important. Also, you have the feedback release dates as well. I would encourage you to refer to your module page for these specific dates always, and always check those dates early and plan your study time accordingly, especially if you just signed up for a new module. This is one good thing, just the first document to check, just to say, and so you can kind of create a roadmap for your study. You can plan it, break down different tasks so you don't feel overwhelmed, because we understand that we're professionals that are busy with personal commitment, professional commitment. So what we wanted to do is encourage is to have a nice study plan from the very start, from the get-go. Another thing that I wanted to draw your attention is the reading and the resource list. So again, in each module that you signed up, there is a one PDF document that contains all your core readings and your recommended readings that kind of complement the module content, complement your learning as well. So the core readings includes the key books and essential readings that runs right through the program. And those are kind of more of the foundational texts that underpin much of your learning that you will refer back in several modules as well. And also one of the things about the core readings is that it's a foundational text that you can always reference when you are completing your assignments as well, because it provides lots of valuable, theoretical, applied knowledge in the area. Apart from that, in that document, we also have a list of recommended readings. So those are wider sources such as journal articles, policy papers, and supplementary materials that encourage you to go beyond the essential and explore specific area of interest in more depth. So if you're interested, I would definitely encourage you to kind of engage with those reading materials, engage with the core readings. But if you have a bit more time, if you have interest in this area, do engage with the wider sources, because again, that will reflect into your assignments that there is evidence that you're doing, kind of engagement with the wider reading resources. There's a kind of you're developing this critical reading, critical writing skills. And also, apart from the reading and the resource list, there's another module that I wanted to draw your attention, which is available to all students. It's called the academic advisory module. So as you can see the screenshot on the right hand side here, so it's available to all students whenever how many modules you signed up. There's a dedicated space for that. So in this module, there's recorded academic advisory sessions that was conducted previously. There's also contains guidelines for academic writing, for referencing. There's a document called program level resources, which we kind of list out all the key journal articles, all the key texts, all the key, like the website, the multimedia, the toolkit for you to look at through different modules as well. So it's available to all students. And in this module, there's also the library FAQ, the resources in this module are actually updated and expanded each term. So we are kind of actively adding new resources. It's worth checking back regularly and think of this module as your academic toolkit, which is a place where you can go to strengthen your study skills, to clarify questions about your assignments, or build your confidence with academic writing and research. And the more you explore and use what's there, the more you will definitely benefit from it. And as I said, each term we're we're adding new resources, new modules, we're continuing improving it, expanding it, and updating it to make sure to help you to support your learning journey. Apart from those modules, another thing, especially for also for new and continuing student, it's the two important document. One is our course handbook and another one is the module guide. So the course handbook is basically your central reference document for the program. It outlines everything from, assessment regulation, academic integrity, and it's really worth taking the time to go through it carefully, especially those kind of critical sections. And as well, like in each module, it also has a module guide alongside of it. And this is where you will find the information specific to that module. What's the learning outcomes? What's the assessment detail? What's the learning activities you will complete? What is the extenuation, late submission policies? So if you haven't had the chance to explore those two documents, I would strongly encourage you to take a look of that. And between the handbook and also the module guide, you will definitely find everything you need to navigate your studies smoothly. So yeah, I'd really encourage you to keep them handy and refer back to them regularly throughout the term. So within the module guide and also the course handbook, there are just one section that I would like to kind of highlight for you, just for your reference. And this is also something quite new for this semester as well, is that as a collaborative effort to protect the academic integrity of the program, which is the key value, we've also introduced the academic integrity and the use of generative AI policy. So as students and staff, we must uphold the highest standard of honesty, originality, and transparency in all our academic work. And I believe Deirdre later, she will talk a little bit more about academic integrity, but this is just something quite new that we introduced from last semester. So if you have ever used generative artificial intelligence, Gen AI tools in your writing, so you must declare how Gen AI was used in your assignments and provide some examples of your original and Gen AI versions, and as well include a reflective paragraphs explaining your learning from the process. So as you can see the screenshot on the right hand side, there is a policy available there. It's in your module page, which is called the use of Gen AI in writing task for student and for staff. So again, I would draw your attention to that specific piece of policy there. Just do a little bit of exploration, because in that piece of policy, it provides detailed guidance on what is the permitted, what is the appropriate use of Gen AI. And then if you have used Gen AI, what would you need to include in your assignment? Because what we want to do is to make sure that your use of Gen AI is transparent in all way and also protects the academic integrity of the program. And as I said, Deirdre will talk a little bit more about it, but I definitely would strongly encourage you to get yourself familiarized with this Gen AI policy, the use of Gen AI policy, because without declaring the use of Gen AI, that may put your submission at risk at the end. And if you have any questions regarding that, again, you're always welcome to contact your module leads, your module tutors, myself regarding this. Okay, just kind of to wrap up, just to share a few program updates and also the reminders, especially in relation to the module options. So as part of our program, kind of the recent program review, the module now inclusive education is a core module for students considering the postgraduate certificate or the postgraduate diploma exit award, while the research dissertation module is the core module for the master student. So just a quick reminder, especially for our September 25 new students, that if you're thinking to apply for the exit award once you complete the 2 modules or 4 modules, just to make sure that, and just double check your module selection carefully to ensure that your alignment with your chosen award pathway, because this will be the core module. That means in order to gain an award for postgraduate certificate and postgraduate diploma, inclusion module will be a core module that you will need to complete this inclusive education module, because this kind of utilize the core value that is underpinning the course, underpinning the area of additional educational needs and special educational needs. And also, as mentioned earlier, a new module named Leading Inclusive Practice in SEN will be available from the January 2026 term for your choice. So this module will be looking at leadership in inclusive practice. We kind of examine different leadership models. And by the end of the module, that you will definitely, the expectation is that you will definitely making a difference in your organization. You become an expert leader in this area. And we're talking about different kind of like organizational changes, how to lead your organization, how to lead your community, how to lead your school to become an inclusive school through different set of whatever strategies, policies. So this is quite exciting module as well. And just regarding the other module, the exceptionally able learner module, this will be running for the final time in this September 2025 term. So this will be actually taken down from the module option from January 26 term. And we're currently updating the applied behavior analysis module that is currently being reviewed and being updated. So we're situating this module into more of the contemporary debate. We focus more on in terms of the ethical use of the module and how does the skills, the techniques of ABA can be applied ethically across different teaching and learning contexts. So this is just the key program updates and reminders. But do please let me know or let Chloe or Deirdre know if you have any questions regarding your module choice. I say Chloe and also my colleague, probably another colleague, Antoinette, will be the main point content in terms of your module choice. But if there's anything you need a bit of advice, you're not sure which module to choose for your next term, please do reach out. Now I'm just going to hand over to my colleague Deirdre, and Deirdre will take you through the next part of the session, which is the academic advisory session. Thanks, Deirdre.
Thank you very much, Rita. And it's my great pleasure to speak to you this evening. And it's lovely to see so many of you here from all sorts of corners of the world. I'm relying on you, Rita, I hope you don't mind to move my slide. So this is the just the first slide here, just laying out what our plan is for this part of this evening's session. I'm going to talk to you about some tips for getting the most out of your module, some strategies for doing good learning activities, guidance on assignments, academic integrity, and then outline the full range of supports that are available to you as a student on the program. So we go on to the next slide, first of all. Really what's key here is that in order to get the most out of your module, it's so important to just make sure you're familiar with all of the resources and supports. Most of you have already done this. You've explored all the resources on the homepage. You're now well familiar with Moodle and you're logged into all the resources, key resources such as library, etc. It is a good idea sometimes to print off or read the module guide and participant handbook. So having those to hand, knowing, having a sort of a map in your head of the overall program of what, and thinking in advance about what modules you'd like to do next. All of these are a good idea, but reading the module guide and participant handbook will give you an excellent idea of the full range of resources and importantly, the expectations, the learning outcomes, etc. for your module. You get out of this program really what you're able to put in, and the more you engage, the more you talk to people, the more you email and discuss online with your classmates, the more you will learn and the more everyone will benefit. So I can't reiterate enough how important it is to contribute to discussions, to ask questions, etc. Get reading, researching and reflecting as soon as possible, and plan your study and assignment. And Rita has already mentioned critical dates. They're very important. And the key thing I'd like to emphasize too is to ask for help if you need it. So if you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed, just ask your tutor. This has happened before. Oftentimes, we reach a point, work could be, coming at us in a deluge or whatever. So there is oftentimes when we might need a little bit of extra help or reassurance, or just some clarification. And if you ask a question, you can be sure many others have the same one. So you can either post that up online or you can email your tutor individually and get an individual response. So we're all here to support you, just to bear that in mind at all times. If you go to the next slide, yeah. So in terms of tips for discussions and learning activities, as I said, it's so important to share and collaborate with your classmates and tutors. Really, the unique aspect of this program is its rich international dimension and the variety of experience and depth of experience that you as a learning community all possess and that we can all benefit and learn from. The learning activities are an opportunity for you to, learn from others, but also to develop your skills for the written assignment. So it's like a mini writing exercise as well. If you choose it to be, you don't have to approach each learning activity with that in mind. But what your tutor will be looking for is evidence of your understanding of the unit content, or that you're reflecting on it, that you're thinking about it, that you're making it your own. Clear and concise writing is another good thing to demonstrate or to try to practice, and a keen ability to analyze, critique, and offer appropriate solutions. And what we're also keen to encourage here is your responses, your collegiate and insightful responses to other students, because that builds the whole learning community and enables us to learn from each other. In terms of these learning activities, before we move on to the assignment, it's just important to note that while you're not graded on them, they are expected. There's 8 learning activities for each, for the whole module, and 2 per unit of content. And it's a good idea to move through them at a kind of regular pace. That way you don't get too far behind, and that way you benefit from completing them more or less in sync with some of your classmates. So they do benefit your final terminal assignment, even though you're not graded on them. So if we go to the next one, then thank you, Rita. So in terms of assignment guidance, the most important thing I can say to you is to read that assignment guidance again. You'd be surprised how many people just pick it up the wrong way, but we have written the assignment briefs very clearly, but mission critical, clarify the core question, always be sure that you understand exactly what you're being asked to do. Read the assignment brief, check the learning outcomes for the module, because this is what you're going to be assessed on. So there'll be a title or a task for each module, and then there'll be learning outcomes. And what the tutors, when you're being marked, and there's a rubric at the end of, in your assignment brief, you'll see the rubrics there on the general assignment information. That's what you're being assessed on, and those are the marking criteria, and it clearly specifies that for each one of the learning outcomes, how you demonstrate that you have achieved it. For instance, if a learning outcome is about engaging with the literature, it'll specify different levels of possible engagement with the literature in a particular field and how you might demonstrate that in a written piece of work. What we want you to do is to show a level of systematic understanding, that you're approaching a field of knowledge, that you've gotten to grips with it, that you've interrogated it, that you've made it your own. And it's not just because this is postgraduate, it's not just about regurgitating or learning off by heart or giving us back what you've read in the online content or what your tutor may have told you. It's really, we want to see how you've made that knowledge your own, how you've processed it, how you've connected it with prior knowledge, how you've interpreted in the light of your own experience, etc. We want you to be able to demonstrate reflection and analysis. So it's key that you understand what's expected of you. And if you're unsure around a given assignment, please don't hesitate to get in touch with me. But as at a module level, your individual tutors are the experts. Plan your research, read the content that's up online, read the core readings and texts and beyond. And one key thing to remember is that websites come with a bit of a health warning, I suppose, even more now in the era of Gen AI, and we need to be ever more skeptical about and careful and cautious about the sources that we quote and where we get sources. But generally speaking, peer-reviewed articles, and trustworthy sources and recommended readings are where it's at. And the key pointer as well is to keep track of all of your sources for building your reference list at the end. You don't want to be chasing those when you're coming to near the deadline for submission. Okay. Writing your assignment. Yes. So plan the essay outline, use the suggested structure, because we've got a very good scaffold for you. And if you follow that, you will not go too far wrong. Develop an overall argument or thesis and try to connect and have a flow of ideas as you're moving through the essay. Group your ideas into themes and paragraphs. Organize your thinking. Organize your argument in a logical way. I often think a good analogy is that of sort of the courtroom lawyer. Remember, you've got to evidence your ideas. You have to be convincing. You have to prove your case. It's not this is not the court of opinion. This is the court of evidence that you're in when you're writing an assignment. Provide signposts and explanations. Tell us what you're going to be discussing next. Remember, use headers so we know, that how you're moving from one topic to another. Critically evaluate and evidence all your ideas. Support your conclusions. So don't just say that such and such is the case. Provide a citation or a reference within the text to prove that such and such is the case. And when you're coming to citations, you have to accurately reference in Harvard style. And there's plenty of guidance up in Moodle and resources such as Cite and Write that'll help you with that. Go to the next slide, please. Okay, in terms of writing your assignment, then draft and redraft, edit and proof. You can't do enough of this drafting. And when we're talking about this drafting, you can, when you get to a certain point, you can put it in to turn it in, check the similarity score. This isn't really a plagiarism score, but it may show you where you've unintentionally taken, chunks from something that you've been reading and put it in the assignment. And so if it comes up all sort of as, from another source, you need to rewrite it, paraphrase, and make sure to duly attribute every source. It says in there that tutors will take drafts. Actually, the policy on this has changed. So I need to clarify that for you. And we'll be posting information on this within Moodle for everyone. UEL policy has changed in regard to students being able to submit draft assignments to tutors, and our tutors have always been very flexible around that. What they will allow now is that you can give a small sample of your academic writing. So you can write an introduction, or you could, write a bit of a plan or a paragraph or two, a few paragraphs, a small sample of academic writing, so that you can get formative feedback from your tutor. So just in the interest of equity, the UEL policy is that tutors are not to take drafts. So that's just a correction there. Some key resources are the Manchester Academic Phrase Bank. This is a wonderful resource for, when your brain is dead and you can't think how to write it so that it sounds academic and official. You go in there, all the link sentences, all the connectors, all the get you started words and phrases are there. And it's a great resource. There's a lovely resource there, academic essay writing. That's from the University of Edinburgh, one that I particularly like. And I think it was originally designed for postgraduate students whose first language wasn't English, but it's really highly useful for everyone. It's just a really, really good resource. Explains, what you should do in an intro, what you should do in, a conclusion, and gives you, kind of explains the architecture of different sections of academic writing. And a helpful resource provided by the UEL academic tutors is there signposted there as well, all about academic tutoring. And so that's you can click into this afterwards when you'll have access to this PowerPoint. You need to access that through your login from UEL. Next slide, please, Rita. So in terms of we mentioned that you can't submit a full draft, but you can submit a small piece of academic writing to your tutor. And this is what is involved. They can provide formative feedback on a sample of your work, 1 page of writing. They may focus on your academic writing structure, referencing, or your general approach. They're not going to give you a grade. They're not going to say this is worth X marks or Y marks. Do you know what I mean? It's not full draft feedback. They can't review or comment on complete assignments. But it is a learning opportunity that's designed to help you strengthen your academic writing skills and hone your approach to, thinking and arguing your case. And you can use this feedback to reflect and revise and enhance your academic writing and your critical analysis. So it is a useful opportunity to take. Next slide, please. Another resource for academic tutoring is the Academic Tutor Service. They have study skills and interactive workshops, and they also provide a service where there's drop-in sessions with academic tutors. And that's the email there if you want to arrange an appointment. Next slide, please, Rita. Academic integrity and referencing. Rita mentioned this. There's plenty up in your handbooks and online in Moodle, and your tutors will no doubt be mentioning it to you as well. It's absolutely essential to avoid breaching academic regulations. And it's actually very important to say that, for many of us, if it's been a while since you studied, the world of I suppose academic integrity has changed quite a lot. It's actually quite easy sometimes to inadvertently breach academic regulations. So I would say to be very, very careful to reference and to paraphrase adequately. Poor academic conduct is defined as incomplete or incorrect citations, over-reliance on sources. So just using 1 or 2 sources, that's called source dependency. Too many direct quotes is also frowned upon. That's looked on as academic laziness, but also if you use big block sections of quote, you're really just using someone else's work to pad out a piece of your own work. So it's not seen as good practice in terms of academic integrity. So it's very important that you maybe think about limiting the number of direct quotes and the size of them. Use them very judiciously, not just to up your word count. Be very careful around paraphrasing as well. It's quite important that you paraphrase, and properly. Unattributed information copied from other sources, missing citations, and using work submitted elsewhere all can get you into trouble in terms and count as plagiarism. So one of the things that many people don't realize is you can plagiarize yourself. So it's not okay to take a piece of work that you submitted for one module and repurpose it or another for the assignment for another module. Or even if you've done a piece of work at another university, you really, so it's supposed to be a fresh, individual, original piece of work. We would advise you to practice referencing, check and cross-check, and use these resources from UEL, cite them right, and there's the YouTube guide as well. So there's plenty of guidance that you can use in terms of getting your, and there's inbuilt facilities too in Word and different tools to make sure that you can just format your references as you go and keep track of them. Next slide, please. So just in terms of presentation and submission tips, so all of these pointers that I'm giving you here, most of them are actually up online. You'll find them in your in the module guides and in the assignment briefs. We do ask you to include the page number and student number on every page. We do mention the preferred font. And submission on Turnitin, when you are submitting your assignment, should remain anonymous. You're not supposed to put your student name on it. And it's important that you stick to the word count. Plus or minus 10% of the word count is okay. But beyond that, your the marker or your module tutor isn't compelled to read beyond when you get to the top of the word count. It's important to spell check and proofread and edit very carefully. And what we do advise is to give yourself plenty of time, because early submission will allow you to catch any issues with high similarity scores and then take corrective action. So, if you go in a couple of days in advance with a nearly final draft and put it in, you'll get a similarity score, and then you'll have time to revise it and fix any issues. Okay, next slide, please. So then in terms of the library, the academic librarian for the School of Education and Communities is Win Pang. There's her email. She's absolutely lovely. Happy to arrange a Zoom meeting. We'll set up, have a chat with you if you have specific questions or need individual support. And then that YouTube resource there is all about getting started with the library. And there are other resources too up in Moodle that will help you in terms of the library. So how we support you. Again, this information is up in Moodle, but just to reiterate, there's all sorts of different levels of support. I'm here as your academic advisor. There's also administrative support, library support. The UEL Student Hub is there for you. The UEL IT Service Desk, that's for specific UEL access issues. ISEP IT support, and your module tutor and supervisor is there for module or assignment specific questions. And of course, Dr. Rita Karen, who's the ISEP module lead or program lead, along with David and Debbie. So there's a whole team of academics there to support you. The next thing I want to say really is that we're very interested in hearing from you. We would like to get your views on teaching and learning, and because your feedback will allow us to improve everything we're doing and improve your learning experience for the next session. And there's lots of different ways that you can provide feedback through taking part in midpoint evaluation surveys, or also by being a student representative for the program. So we have program board meetings a number of times a year, but it's not a terribly onerous task. We just ask you maybe to collect some feedback, or ask your from your classmates, and bring it forward to a meeting where we will then take on board any concerns, issues, or suggestions from the student body, and look to implement those to improve and enhance the program. And if you'd like to be a student representative for the program, please contact me at that email address there below, and that myself or Chloe will get back to you. And if you go on to the next slide. Yeah, ready for any questions. That was a bit of a whistle-stop tour through some pointers in terms of the assignment and the resources, and just responding, getting the most out of your module. So I hope that was helpful, and I'm happy to take any questions. I see that Chris is finding the Chris, that it does get more practical. Chris is asking about the fact that she's finding, I think, the module on dyslexia quite theoretical. It is probably the most theoretical of all of the modules. There's a lot there on models and models of reading, theories of literacy, and theories of dyslexia. So and lots of definite. So there's a lot going on in that particular module. Around the screeners, there are I would actually recommend that you have a conversation with Shannon, your tutor, and just ask her to see what one she would recommend for your specific setting. And then depending upon your jurisdiction, so in Ireland, there are certain screening tools which are used regularly within the Irish context, similarly in the UK. So I would be investigating on Department of Education websites, or checking out with my tutor which ones are kind of, most commonly used in the type of setting that I'm involved with. That would be my approach, if that's helpful, Chris. And Fee was asking about using bits from previous assignments in the research or dissertation module. Generally not, I'm afraid. However, there's always exceptions, and it could be that maybe you did a piece on, you know, you did an essay on a particular topic and you want to build on that and do a piece of research. So it would be a distinct piece. So if you have a specific question on that, you know, you can get in touch with me or with Rita, and we'd be happy to help you, you know, give you some guidance on that.
Yeah, and just add on that. So if you're going to use any writing from a previous assignment for your dissertation, and just as Deirdre mentioned, you're probably doing on a similar topic, make sure that has to be a fresh piece that you need to re-paraphrase, reframe your writing. Make sure that you're not just a copy and paste, because once it's going to your Turnitin, the previous writing will be uploaded into Turnitin. That will automatically detect that you're self kind of plagiarism in your previous work. So just make sure you kind of re-paraphrasing and rewrite the section, and you produce an entire new fresh section. So any other questions? But anytime, as Deirdre mentioned, that myself, Deirdre, Chloe, we're available there to support you. So if you have any questions regarding program, regarding anything else, you would like a bit of advice, please do get in touch, and we'll be delighted to help. And at the module level, as also Deirdre mentioned, that your module tutor will be the expert in that area, and we do encourage you to get in touch with your module tutor, whether it's through the online forum or through email, to kind of seek for their expertise, as well as with your peers as well, to get engaged. The more you kind of read, the more you engage, the more you will get out of this program. So if we have no more questions, just thank you everyone for attending today's induction and the academic advisory session. And we're so delighted to be hosting this session for our new student and also the continuing student, and always delighted to help. Thank you everyone. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and to be in touch soon.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.